Okay.
Here we are, Francesco.
Hello, hello.
You are live right now, broadcasting from, where are you?
I'm in Argentina right now, and it's like almost 8 a.m. So I'm sorry if I will do some mistake because it's like quite early here. But yeah, I want to share my information with you guys. So one second,
Great. So maybe I will give you a short intro. So Francesco Lucidi, he's a lawyer and also co-founder of Digmak, who is also sponsor of this event. It's a platform that would connect you to taxation experts depending on which country you are or where you want to go. With this, I will give you the floor, Francesco. Just give me a second to
Yes, please.
move you as host.
Okay, can you see it right now?
Yeah, perfectly. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. So first of all, I want to thank you for the opportunity to be here and give this speech to this event. I'm Francesco Lucidi, and I'm a lawyer in Italy and Spain, and also I am a co-founder of Digmak. Digmak is a startup, a Swedish startup that they aim to help freelancers, expats, and most of all digital nomads to save their taxes and to relocate in other countries. As the other co-founder and me, we are digital nomads. I've been digital nomads for 5 years, so that's why I'm in Argentina right now. I'm still digital nomading, and so we know what are the issues and the problems that a digital nomad could face during his journey, and especially with legal issues and taxes. So as I'm a lawyer, I know that there are many people that are struggling with that. So we want to help them to have the best possibility for the legal issues and taxes. So now, today I want to focus to some countries that I think that are the most important for digital nomads in Europe. And so I want to start with Spain, as Spain is for sure one of the countries that are more requested for digital nomads. So as Antonio mentioned before, there are personal income tax and corporate income tax. Personal income tax is what you are taxed when you earn your salary, or if you are freelance, what are your income considering on your invoice. So you basically, in Spain, they have a range between 19% and 47%. That is quite high. As well as corporate income tax is 25% on the profit that you have with your company. Plus, you have to add the social security that for the employees is not so high because it's 6 to 7%. But the problem came when you want, as many digital nomad freelancers, the problem came when you want to open your tax position in Spain, as there is the first year is quite good because you pay €50 flat tax. So basically you are paying €50 per month for the first year, and the problem is coming like from the second year onward, because you can arrive to the third year to pay almost €300 per month without thinking about on how much you earn. So you can earn basically some months €0 and you still have to pay almost €300 per month. That is one of the highest in the world, I want to say. That's why there is a new law proposal right now to have like a different kind of ranges of social security. With that, you have the minimum will be like €184 to €1,267, but it depends on how much do you earn. So it's going to be like a more, there will be a more equity or proportional instead of how it works right now. So there are also a tax on capital gains that are dividends, royalties, on interest that range between 19 to 26%. It depends on how much you taking these capital gains. And also it's quite bureaucratic, and I know because I was living in Spain. So basically you have to fill up the declarations on personal income tax, that is ERPF, and IVA, that is VAT, every 3 months, plus annual declaration. So you definitely need an accountant to stay in this country. But there is a new project that is already approved. So we are waiting that the law is coming into force, that it should be in June. That is called the new startup law. That's I think that is going to be one of the most interesting law in the next following months for digital nomads. In fact, with this law, you can see that you will have just 15% corporate tax, as well as 15% of personal income tax if you are one of the members of the company. Plus, basically, you are paying this 15% for 4 years since the first year that you have a profit. So that means that if you create a startup, usually you don't generate profit for the first 1 or 2 years. So it's not considered from the moment that you start your startup, but from the moment that you generate your first profit. That could be 6-7 years. That is quite good. Also, it takes to have a new digital nomad visa that is going to be really easier to get. So basically, there is this incentive for the startup and this incentive to become as well a digital nomad. There is a tax exemption of stock option that arrives till 50,000 per year. And also, this is quite important that there is the possibility to have an exemption for the investors. So if you find an investor that want to invest in your company, they have a tax deduction of 50% for the first 100,000 euro. Also, there will be other benefits like the notary and registry fee will be eliminated, and there will be everything online. And you can have your company in just 6 hours. So I really believe that Spain with this law will be one of the one of the best countries for digital nomad in the next future. Also, talking about Spain, and you know that you are in Canary Island, I think that it is important to mention that in Canary Island there is a special zone that is called ZEC, that means Zona Especial Canaria, where basically you can pay just 4% of corporate tax. But this is subject to some limits. First of all, you need to live in Canary Islands to be a tax resident there. Secondly, you need to have an investment of minimum 100,000 euro if you live in the 2 capitals of Canary Islands that are Gran Canaria and Tenerife, or 50,000 euros if you're living in the other islands, at Fuerteventura. And basically, you need to have this investment plus creating 5 jobs if you are in the 2 capitals, or creating 3 jobs if you are in the other islands. Also, there are benefits if you pay dividends to other subsidiaries of your company that are abroad. And another thing that is a pro to live in Canary Islands is that they have the VAT that in Canary Islands is called ISIG. That is just 7% comparing to 21% of Spain. What are the cons that I found out in the Canary Islands? Basically, is more for entrepreneurs and digital entrepreneurs more than freelancers. Because if you are a freelancer, you are basically subject as the same personal income tax that you have in Spain. That, as I mentioned before, that is between a range of 19% and 48%. And also, you need to have at least one member of the board of the company that must be a citizen of Canary Island or a resident of Canary Island. This is an incentive, as you can see, for to invest in the region and to help the local people to have a job. So another country that is one of the most important for digital nomad right now. I receive many requests of my clients that want to relocate in Portugal. There is like the new digital nomad, the digital nomad base. You can see that the normal regime in Portugal, the taxation is really high. They have a personal income tax that is a range between 14 and 48%, depending on how much do you earn, as well as corporate income tax is 21%. Plus, you have a social security that is around 11% for the employees and around 14% for the freelancers. As you can see, you need to do some math, but it's gonna be like 14%. And as well, you have 15% of taxation in capital gain individual. Plus social security, you have a bureaucracy that you have to fill up the declaration every 3 months, as in Spain. So as you can see, Portugal is not so attractive from this point of view, but as Antonio mentioned before, you have the possibility to apply for the nature status. And nature status basically means no habitual resident that basically applies in a way that Portugal becomes a no-dom tax system, so almost a territorial tax system. So it means that basically you are paying taxes only in what you're earning in Portugal, but you are not paying taxes on your foreign income. So the taxation of your income is 20% flat tax. So you can earn €1 or 1 million, you will pay 20%. And also there is no taxation of foreign dividends, interest, royalties, and rental income. That is really important if you have a company abroad and you want to pay yourself in dividends. Basically, if the company is not settled in Portugal, you are not paying taxes on that. But you need to be careful, because I see that there are many people that want to open a company in another low tax country as Malta or Cyprus, and they start to live in Portugal. In this way, they basically try to pay as less taxes as they can. But Portugal is very active. The tax authority in Portugal is really active on that, because they know that this is what, if you read some blogs or if you go around digital nomad world, there are many people that are taking it as for granted. You need to be careful, because if the tax authority find out that your effective management, that is basically what you're doing of your company, is in Portugal, so you're managing your company from Portugal, you are the only shareholder, you are the CEO of the company, and basically you are doing everything from Portugal, then you are considered as a Portuguese taxpayer, and you are treated as if your company was in Portugal. That applies what I mentioned before, that you have to pay the corporate income tax of Portugal, and then you are not considered anymore as with the nature status. So you really need to be careful on that, because I see that there are many people that are trying to do that at the moment. So if you are if you have a company, a proper company, and you have other shareholders, and the CEO is from another country and is managing the company from another country, then you can receive your dividends or royalties for free. And I mean, with the tax exemption, that is really a good way to earn on your capital. Also, there is no taxation of foreign employment. So that means that if you have an employer that is abroad, basically you are not paying taxes in Portugal, but you are paying taxes at the source. But you can, for example, have a job in a country where there is a low taxation, and basically you can live in Portugal with that without paying taxes in the country. Also, that I think that is quite important for many here. There is no taxation on crypto. So basically, if you are not a professional on that, you are not taxed so far for your gains that you and your interest that you are earning for crypto. And this is quite important, because Portugal is recognizing crypto, and they provided that there is no taxation so far on that. You know, everything could change, because these crypto taxes and crypto laws are changing as the crypto as the thing crypto. But so far, Portugal is a good country for people that are investing in crypto. Also, you have no social security for the first year. So the first year you are just paying 20% on your personal income tax and no social security. After that, from the second year onwards, you will pay 11.2%. What does it mean, this fact that you are not paying on foreign income? That many people think that you are basically as if you are freelancer and maybe you can invoice people all around the world. You're invoicing people in Spain, in France, in Italy, and so on. You are not paying taxes on that because you are invoicing a person that is outside Portugal. But it's not like that. If you're a freelancer and you are registered in the nature system, you basically have to respond on your this 20% personal income tax because the Portuguese tax authority is considering you as as I mentioned before for the company. The same applies more for the freelancers, that your effective management is in Portugal, and then you are considered as a taxpayer in Portugal. So I think that Portugal is quite an interesting country. That's why many people right now are going to live there in Portugal. But I want to highlight that it's not this tax haven that many people are considering at the moment. I receive many requests of people that don't want to pay taxes and they want to go to Portugal to have 0% taxes, and it's quite impossible to have that. In fact, if you consider from the second year onwards, you are paying basically more than 30% of taxes on your income, because it's going to be like 20% of personal income tax plus 11% of social security, and also there are other taxation that will apply if you earn more than a certain amount of money. Also, is good for people that want to live in Portugal, but if you're a digital nomad, you have to live in Portugal to maintain the NHR status at least 6 months, so 183 days per year, and it applies for the 10 years that it lasts the NHR status. So as every country, there are pros and there are cons. But I think that Portugal is a good country to live. The cost of life is not really high, except Lisbon right now. So it's definitely a good country to set up your personal status if you want to live abroad. So after Portugal, I want to mention Cyprus, because I think that as well is a good option for digital nomads. Is more for people that want to open a company, as well as the nature status. The Cyprus has the non-dom status that it lasts for 17 years. That is quite a long-term project. If you are not a Cyprus citizen, or if you don't have any ties with Cyprus, you can apply for this regime. With this regime, basically, you are just paying 12.5% on corporate tax. So that is one of the lowest, definitely in Europe, and one of the lowest in the world. And also, you are basically tax exempt on your withholding tax. Withholding tax is basically when you are the tax that applies from the country that when you are taking off the money from your companies. And usually this country applies a tax on that, but Cyprus doesn't apply this tax. As well, you don't have tax on interest and royalty from a Cyprus company. Also, another thing that is really important is that Cyprus applies the rule of 180 days for the first year, but then from the second year onward, you can live just 60 days in Cyprus to be considered as a Cyprus tax resident with a non-dom status. The thing that you have to respect, there are many rules that you have to respect. Basically, is that you must live at least 60 days in Cyprus and don't live more than 6 months in another country. So if you respect this rule, you are considered a Cypriot non-dom taxpayer for 17 years. That is quite good, and as well, if you want to open a company, it's really good. The the cons that I see in this regime is that, first of all, Cyprus is an island, so it's not, I don't know if you want to relocate there. There are pros and cons to live in Ireland. I really love to live in an island, but not everybody have the same sensation to live there. And also there is a high cost of incorporation and management for the company. Usually it's 3,000 euro for the incorporation and management as well. You need to have an accountant there that are quite expensive. And also the personal income tax in Cyprus, you are and it becomes quite high, and it could arrive to 35%. And furthermore, I think that it's quite important as well to mention that Cyprus is not in the Schengen area, even if it's a country of the European Union, it's not a member of the Schengen area, so it could give problem when you want to move and so on. Another country that's becoming interesting for digital nomads is Bulgaria. There are many digital nomads. Living there already, and they have a very good tax structure for digital nomads. It's quite easy. They have a 10% personal income tax and 10% corporate income tax. So basically, you're paying just 10% and 10%. The only problem on that is that the social security is up to 32%. So it's like, hey, I'm paying 10% of personal income tax, and then I have to pay 32% on the social security. But it seems I talked with Bulgarian accountants, and they told me that the Bulgarian government accepts the fact that you are paying yourself in dividends. So basically, you open a company, you pay 10% of corporate tax, and then instead of give you a salary where you have to pay your social security on that, you are paying yourself with dividends. With that, basically, you are avoiding the social security tax, and the social security for the corporate is just 100 euro per month. That's basically is nothing. So you're paying 10% of corporate income tax plus a tax of 100 euro per month for managing in the company. Another pro that applies in Bulgaria is that the dividends are taxed just on 5%. As I mentioned before, you pay yourself in dividends. Usually, this structure is not, for example, Cyprus doesn't accept the fact that you pay yourself just in dividends as many countries, because they want you to pay yourself a salary, because if you work on that, you need to have a salary, or at least you don't have to pay yourself 100% on dividends. You can have like some sort of 50-50 or 30-70 applies. It depends where you are, and depends on how much you earn, and depends on many things. But usually it's difficult to have 100% the possibility to give yourself 100% of dividends. And another con that I feel that there is in Bulgaria is that you have to stay there as in Portugal for 6 months every year to be considered as a tax resident there. But here is definitely a low cost. There is definitely a low cost of life. So it's true that you need to be there for 6 months, but at the same time you can go there, apply for your tax position, release have a lease contract, and stay there, showing to the tax authority that you are living there with a lease contract, or if you want to buy a property. But you don't need to live 6 months. It's just for juridical. It's just for your juridical status. And also there was Estonia, but I didn't have the time to create a slide, so I'm really sorry on that. We had a misunderstood. And so like quickly, Estonia it was the first country to open for digital nomad visa. It was in July 2020, and it applies more for people that are not EU, of course, because if you're a European citizen, you can live wherever you want in the EU. Estonia has the possibility to open a company online with e-residency that it works quite straightforward, and is really easy to set up and manage. also that Estonia applies a 0% corporate tax, and they applies a 20% tax on dividends. This is quite important because basically they change the time where you are taxed. So you're not taxed on your profit of your company, but you're taxed when you are giving yourself your dividends. So in these two moments, you basically can spend all your money, not your money, but most of your money that you need for your company, and you are not taxed on that. That is really a good option to save. And they have many benefits on taxes. Also, Estonia is considered the first country as for fair in taxes. So that means that you know what you're going to pay, and you know that if there are no like small words that you have to pay taxes that you didn't know that you had to pay. And I really think that Estonia as well is a good option, especially you can manage the company online. You can live elsewhere while you have your company in Estonia. You don't need to live in Estonia to open a company, as well as it applies for Cyprus, for example. You don't need to live in Cyprus if you want to open a company. So I think that that's it. Sorry if I give to you a lot of information, but you know, it's just a big picture on taxation in Europe, and I hope that it was helpful for you. Plus, I want to mention that we have a discount for people that want to have a tax consultation with us. We have the possibility to have the tax consultation for €50 instead of 75 for the first 30 minutes. And our webpage is in maintenance. We are rebuilding our webpage, so you can send an email at info@digmak.com, mention Digmak 50, and we know that you arrive from DigiNomads, and we are happy to help you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Francesco. That's been very interesting. I would like to take a couple of questions. The one that has been voted 4 times, which was written by David of Surfacecape, I'll read it maybe. Is there any means in Europe to have a hybrid tax regime? For example, I'm autonomous in France since 2020, now reside in Spain for more than 183 days, so I will have to transfer the activity to Spain. But if in 2 years I move to Portugal, then I will have to do so in Portugal and restart from scratch every time. Is there any way to choose a home base despite not residing for more than 183 days in that country?
If you want to if you're a freelancer, I'm afraid that you need to live in that country to open your personal position. The best way is to open a company, and then you can open a company as non-resident. There are many countries in the EU and in the world to open a company as non-resident with very low taxation on that. With that, you can basically manage your business from your company, and then you pay yourself dividends when you earn money on that. Because if you want just to relocate, I'm afraid that you need to starting from everything from the scratch.
Is there a minimum number of employees that you need to have in that company, or can I run it by myself and be just self-employed? I think you mentioned in Spain it was 3 employees, not to be considered as a startup.
Sorry, I didn't hear so well. Can you repeat?
Yeah, just a second.
Yeah, apologies. I'm just here next to Giacomo.
Yeah, so, don't worry, okay.
Just a question. In case I do open a company, so to avoid having to be having the freelancer status, do I need to have a minimum number of employees in that company in order to be eligible as an actual company? Or can I run it by myself and be the only company?
You can run a company by yourself, definitely. You can be the only shareholder, and you can run a company by yourself. The only problem, as I mentioned before, for example, for Portugal, is the fact that if you have your own company and you're managing your company by yourself, then it's difficult to demonstrate that you are managing your company in the country where you set up your company. So, for example, if you set up your company in Cyprus, where you pay just 12%, but then you go to Portugal because you don't the dividends, the foreign dividends are not taxed, as I mentioned before. Basically, many people think that in this way they're just paying 12% and that's it. But for example, in Portugal, tax authorities are really on that. And if they realize that basically you are the only shareholder, you are the CEO of the company, and you are living in Portugal, then you are considered as a Portuguese taxpayer. So your company is considered to be in Portugal instead of being in Cyprus. So you have to be careful on that. For example, if you open a company with other people, there is another. It's definitely easier to demonstrate that you are managing your company outside the country.
Okay. But so is there a minimum number of time for them to actually look at it? So let's say now if I set up my company in Canaries where I reside, and I think I'll reside for, let's say, 1 or 2 years, but I don't know. Let's say I go.
In Canary Islands.
Yeah, tell me.
Sorry. In Canary Islands, you need to reside there because you need to see as well what are the countries that accept. Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. So I do reside in Canary Islands, but the thing is, I don't know if that's going to be the case for, let's say, the next 3 or 4 years. So I just want to know if there's a way, to just do it for the next 5 years. And even if I reside in another country for more than 183 days in the next few years, to just be legal, let's say I have a legal status.
Consider yourself that if you want to open in Canary Island, the benefit is when you open your company, because if you live in Canary Island as a Spanish taxpayer, the amount of taxes is quite high. So imagine that you start to reside in Canary Islands. So it means that you live in Canada for more than 6 months. You become a tax resident. You open your company. You have 3 employees. Then is not the fact that you're living just 6 months in another country that you become a tax resident in another country. There are other rules that apply. One is to live 6 months, but another one is where you have your effective management of your business. Another rule is where you have, for example, your ties. That could be like your family or your spouse or your children. It's difficult to say here. We need to see case by case. But let's say that the rule of 6 months and 183 days is a rule that applies as a presumption. But then you can show that you are basically a Canary Island taxpayer, a resident, even if you lived in Portugal, let's say, for 7 months. The thing is that if you live in Portugal for 7 months, you're managing your company there, and you get a lease contract, you have family there, and so on, then it's difficult to demonstrate that you are in Canary Islands. It really depends on your specific case.
Okay, and just last question, if I may, related to this, what if you have a real estate investment in the country where you declare your company? Does that help in any means? So your primary residence?
Sorry, can you repeat?
If you have a real estate investment in the country where you reside, does that help your case?
Yes, definitely. It helps, but you can have as well a real estate in another country. Then you have to see the bilateral tax treaties between the countries where you have to pay taxes on your real estate. For example, the NHL status in Portugal applies that you have 0% taxes on your foreign rental income. So if you have a real estate on another country, then if you apply for the nature status, you don't pay taxes on that. But you have to see how much you pay taxes on your country of origin. There are many things that we need to think. Let's say that it is a general rule, but then unfortunately in the legal system there is a general rule, and then there are more exemptions than the rules. So we need to see your specific position.
Cool. Thank you very much, Francesco. Very useful.
You're very welcome.
Thank you very much, Francesco. I see there are a few other questions, so if you don't mind, I let you have a look at them and maybe comment to answer them. And we will continue with the last session of this virtual event. I thank you again, Francesco. Thank you and Digmak. And
thank you to you.
Let's jump into the next session. Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.